Alright guys, welcome back to a brand new video. So today we're going to be starting a series where I'm going to be reviewing every NBA team leading into the season over the next 30 days. So today we're going to start things off with my favorite team, the Phoenix Suns. Alright, so let's talk about their main move of the offseason, how their summer kicked off actually, which is the Kevin Durant trade.
Kevin Durant joined the Rockets in a Sunday blockbuster that sent breakout star Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, and the number 10 overall pick to Phoenix. Durant, an undoubted future Hall of Famer, averaged 26.6 points per game last season, but struggled to get the Suns going, finishing 11th in the West, ultimately missing the playoffs.
So Kevin Durant was shipped off to Houston for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the 10th overall pick in this draft, and 5 future second-round picks, which were later turned into Rasheer Fleming and Kobe Bryant. So let's get started with the main piece in this deal, Jalen Green. Jalen Green could be really boom or bust for the Suns. I don't really know how he's going to fit next to Devin Booker, but I think he's still young. He could still improve. If he just starts taking better shot selection, I honestly think this could be a good year for him, and I think he's going to prove a lot of the doubters wrong. I think he honestly could cause a lot of problems for these opposing defenses, and he could be really good for the Suns. Now, Dillon Brooks is honestly my favorite addition from this trade. I think he's extremely underrated. I think he's going to be very good for the Suns. He's going to be one of their main pieces as to why they're going to be grit and grind this year, and I think he's going to be one of the reasons why they're better than most people think they're going to be. And I think they can honestly sneak into the play-in. He's coming off of a career best year from 3. He has always been a great defender, so I like what he's going to do on that side of the ball for us. I think he's going to be a perfect fit next to Devin Booker, and I just think he's a good all-around addition. Now, let's talk about Kaman Malawash, the 10th overall pick. So, Kaman, this is my thing with him. He definitely is a very raw prospect. We saw in Summer League he struggled at times. He can knock down a 3-ball if needed, but that's still something he's going to have to improve on. I think it's going to be a year or two till he gets some actual serious playing time. For now, he's going to be behind Mark Williams and Nick Richards, and maybe Oso Ighodaro at times. Really depends if they want to play him at center or not. But come on, I think he could be good for us in the future. He's definitely a really good defender. I like what he could do on that side of the ball. Reminds me a lot of Rudy Gobert. Hope to see that in his game. But I would really love to see some improvement from him on the offensive side of the ball. Hopefully, as time goes on, he can learn from other guys like Mark Williams and Nick Richards and improve. Maybe even his passing when he learns from Oso Ighodaro. That'd be cool. But, yeah, I like what he brings to the table. Kobe Bryant, 41st overall pick. I really like Kobe. I think he's an incredible shooter. I think he's going to be a lot of what Grayson Allen brings to the table. If we were to trade him, Kobe Bryant can bring the same stuff. Obviously not on the same level yet, but I really like what he brings to the table. I think he could be really good for us, and he just needs playing time, and he just needs minutes to prove himself. He is on a 2-way contract to start off the year, but I think by the end of the year he may get a full NBA contract. And Rasheer Fleming, honestly, I think that's the steal of the draft. Was projected to be a lottery pick, ended up falling to the first pick of the second round. Suns were able to trade up and get him. I think he can be incredible for the Suns. Great defender, very good on offense. I think he's going to fit seamlessly next to Devin Booker, next to Mark Williams, next to Jalen Green, whoever you want to put out there with him. I think he could be really good for this team. He's a good 3-point shooter, so if you want to put him out there with lineups that can't, like if you want to put him on the floor with Ryan Dunn, that's okay because he's able to space the floor. But I think he's going to bring a lot to the table for us, and I think he's going to be really good. The next thing I want to talk about is our next move that we made was the Mark Williams trade. Traded a future first-round pick, and I think it was the 29th overall pick in this year's draft, which later turned into Liam McNeely. We'll see how he pans out. But we traded all that for Mark Williams. Mark Williams is somebody who hasn't stayed healthy over the last few years, but I think this could be his year. If he's healthy, he could really take that next step. Hopefully he can be better on defense than he was over the past few years because he has taken a dip, but I love the fit next to Devin Booker. I think this is going to be the best supporting cast he's had in his career because I don't like the teams that he was surrounded with in Charlotte. I like what Phoenix is doing with him, though. I think he's going to be very good. And as long as he stays on the floor, like I said, I think this team can make a run. Not saying they're going to make an NBA Finals run because, it's the Suns. They're really not that good. But I think they could be a low play-in team, high play-in team maybe at best. But if all goes right, that'll be the case because Mark Williams stayed on the floor. And I love what he brings. I don't think we really gave up too much for him. I think what we gave up was solid, but not too much. He is a restricted free agent next offseason. Obviously, you don't want to have a situation like Jonathan Kuminga or Josh Giddey, who just recently signed, or Cam Thomas or Quentin Grimes, where they want more money than the team is willing to offer, and it becomes a standoff. You don't want that for your organization. I mean, you've seen what it's done to the Warriors. It halted their entire summer because they couldn't sign Al Horford, couldn't sign DeAnthony Melton, who are two players who they might sign, but they literally, up to this point of day of recording, have not made a single move because of the Jonathan Kuminga situation. It really screwed them over. I think if Mark Williams stays healthy, though, he can get anywhere between 15 to 18 million a year. If he can't and he only plays 45, 46 games like he has over the past few years, you're looking at the 10 to 12 million range, which is still a really good deal for Mark Williams, and I would re-sign him because I like how he fits on this team a lot. It's that defense again. Defense he's got to improve on because over the past few years he's really struggled on that end of the floor. And I want to see him bring it back because I know he could be a good defender. And hopefully he can stay healthy because I know he wants to too. He doesn't want this injury-prone, he doesn't want to be noted as an injury-prone player. He doesn't deserve it either. The next player I want to discuss is Colin Gillespie, somebody who I think is extremely underrated. He was really good for us at times last year when we really needed somebody who would hustle on that side of the ball because nobody was doing anything, and the team just had no spirit, no heart, anything. He was the one guy that was out there really hustling, and I appreciated that a lot. I'm glad they brought him back. I think he could be much improved this year with more minutes, maybe starting role at times depending on injuries. I think he's going to be a really good point guard for us. I like what he brings a lot. I like his three-point shooting. I like his defense. I like his integrity. He's just going to be really good for us. Which brings me to Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro. Sophomores this year. Hopefully no sophomore slumps. But honestly, these are two guys that I want to see get a lot more minutes because last year they were very up and down with Mike Budenholzer as their coach. I like a lot what Ryan Dunn brings to the table. I hope he's a starter to start off the season. I don't know why he wouldn't be. I think he's going to start at the 4 for us. Probably going to be more of a 3 on defense, 4 on offense, but I like what he brings a lot. He's somebody who I think could have a nice year 2 jump. I'm not saying most improved conversation, but he can definitely be a lot better than he was in his rookie season. Hopefully the 3-point shot can be improved a little bit. We're looking at perfect scenario of 35 to 36%, which would be really a good improvement for him. I would love to see that for him. Oso, another guy who I want to see get a lot more minutes. I like what he could do at passing. I think it's extremely underrated what he does on that side of the ball. And I honestly think he can bring a lot to the table. He could be a primary ball handler for us, somebody who could play well next to Devin Booker, next to Dillon Brooks, next to Jalen Green. There's a lot of good lineups I could see right now happening where you have Book, Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, Oso Ighodaro, and Kaman Malawach on the floor. I like what he can do. He could bring the ball up if needed. If you want to have Book off the ball, because I know a lot of Suns fans, they're upset with having Book at point Book. They don't like him. They think he should be more off the ball, which I don't get. He's a very skilled passer. I think if we need him at point guard, he's a very serviceable option. I have no issue with it at all. And Book, we'll get to him in just a minute. But first I want to talk about Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen. So these are two of our vet players who I think are going to be good mentors for the young guys. I think they could get moved at the deadline if we're looking for somebody. I don't know. We need a scoring punch off the bench. We need better defense. Mark Williams is hurt. We need better center play. Whatever it may be, I think these two guys, definitely teams are going to be interested in them. Two perfect fits for contenders around the league. Anybody, Houston, Denver, OKC, New York, anybody that needs a solid guy off their bench or even could start. These two guys are perfect for that. Grayson Allen struggled at times from 3 last year, but I honestly think he could have a bounce back year this year, look more like his 2024 self. Obviously, the best three-pointer shooter percentage-wise in the league that year. I think he could really bring it back for us. That'd be good. Finally, I want to talk about the main man himself, Devin Booker. So Book is coming off a down year from last year, down to 25 points per game, like low for him since I don't even remember when, probably his rookie year. I think he could really turn it around this year, though. I think he's going to prove a lot of doubters wrong. I think that's one thing with this team is there's a lot of people on this team who want to prove doubters wrong because everybody's been knocking this team, saying they're not going to be good, they're not going to do this, they're not going to do that. I think this team needs to go out there and prove people wrong and show that they're better than people think they are. And Book's the main guy in that. I think he's going to be in the MVP conversation, not top 5 because I don't think his team's going to be good enough, but maybe top 6, top 7, maybe top 8, whatever. It doesn't matter. But I think Book's definitely going to be up there. He's going to have a bounce back year. People are going to acknowledge him as a top 10 player in the NBA again. He's going to average 30 points a game, probably like 34 and 8. That would be a perfect scenario for Devin Booker. Hopefully he can get that 3-point shot back up, get some of that defense back from 2023 because we know he could be a good defender. It's just past few years it hasn't been that. But we all know that Book can be a great defender. 2023 playoffs, he was one of the best players in the league. So I don't understand why he couldn't do that this year and why people think he's washed. It makes no sense. But I think this could be the year that he really proves all the doubters wrong, and this team will be taken as far as Book takes them. So I guess my overall prediction for this team, somewhere between the 34 to 39 win range. If I had to guess, I'm going to say we get 38 wins this season, which is more than last year. I think this team has a lot more heart than the team did last year. They're actually going to care and try, which I appreciate. The fact that that's not even happening last year is the problem. But no more Bradley Beal, no more Kevin Durant. It's just Devin Booker, and I think this team could really prove a lot of doubters wrong. So that's going to be it for the first video of this series. I'll see you guys tomorrow with part 2, and we will be going for the next 30 days. Peace.